Hi everybody, Mick here, Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. So before I hand you over to the lovely Kaz for her to do a talk on stinging nettles, one of the things I'd like to say to you guys is stinging nettles. Be careful and handle them all times, and remember, stinging nettles aren't that difficult to handle. Wear a pair of gloves, but you can also neutralise the stings on a stinging nettle by running them through the flame. That burns the hairs off. That will neutralise the stings. You can also use steam or you can use hot water, and that neutralises the acids, will also help to remove the hairs. So, when handling your stinging nettles, be careful, be safe, enjoy yourselves, and enjoy this video. Thank you very much for watching. Mickey out.
Hello and welcome to the Hedgerow and Kitchen Medicine. Today we're speaking about nettles. Now, you may think to yourself, nettles, I know that you can make cordage out of it, but did you know that there is so much more to this little plant, or big plant, because some can grow up to 7 feet. But yes, there is. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take you through the different types of nettle, how you pick them, what you need to pick, storage and use in the kitchen, in your garden, medicines, and general use. And hopefully, at the end of this, you will look at the humble nettle in a completely different light. Thank you very much for joining me on this journey. And next, we have collection. Where's the best place to get your nettles from? Well, as most of us have probably got some sort of nettle in our garden, it's easy enough to collect from there. If you haven't got a garden, you anywhere in the centre of the woods, don't pick on the outsides of the woods because of dog walkers, etc. Also, do avoid picking nettles that are beside the road. These can have dirt and all sorts of contaminant from the road and may have been sprayed with chemicals, so maybe not a good idea if you want to make them into food or medicines. To gather the stinging nettle, the best thing to do is, a lot of the old times they used to say, oh, if you grab it firmly, you won't get stung, or if you think you're not going to get stung, you won't get stung. Yeah, good luck with that one. No, the best thing to do is to roll up your sleeves, get yourself a decent pair of garden gloves, ones that the stings won't actually get through, and cut them with a pair of secateurs or scissors. It depends. Or if you have a knife that you like to use when collecting, use that. Be careful you're cutting the plants long, because you bending over to get to the bottom of the plant nearest to the ground, you can flick yourself in the face, and it's maybe not the best thing to do. Right, the best, you really want young or mature, not old nettles. They get very woody, and also if you're going to use them in medicines, they got a habit of causing irritation to the kidney sometimes because of build up of the calcium that's actually on them. So you want to try and avoid that. Mainly for cooking and medicines, you want the young shoots. They're easy to pick up. Roots, they're another thing that can be used in medicines and cooking, etc. You want to pull up the whole thing. So again, garden gloves, pull it up. You want to cut the roots into sections because those two can be used. If you want to collect the seeds, what you need to do is to hang the nettles up, and underneath them have paper or a piece of cotton, and as the nettle dries, you will have the seeds fall out. And of course, once the nettle is dried, you don't have a problem with them getting you stung. Okay. And next we have storage. The two main methods for storing your nettles is either to freeze them or to dry them. If you're going to freeze them, you need to wash the nettles, chop and blanch in boiling water for about 2 minutes. When they've cooled down, you squeeze the excess water out of it and put it into plastic bags to freeze. Now, be wary that these will form quite a clump, so never store um, put them in too much in a bag. Only put in amounts that you would use, therefore saving wastage. As there's drying, for drying, all you need to do is, if you have an airing cupboard or a conservatory or a warm place, what you need to do is, if you leave them out in somewhere like that, they should take a few days to dry. If you, however, want to do it in the oven, um, you set the oven to 45 to 55 centigrade. I'm not quite sure on the other the gas marks, etc. I shall put that in the comments. Um, if you put them on a baking sheet, they only take a few hours. You put them onto a baking sheet with laid out and bake them. Once you take them out and let them cool, you can then crumble them up and put them into a clean glass jar. You can then seal it and then put a label on it. This is important. I'll let you know why in a minute. But you put a label on it, and then you can keep that in a nice, cool place. Um, Secondly, it will next to the seeds also be kept in glass jars and in a dark place. Now, the reason why you label your frozen or dried nettles is the fact that you should not use them any more than about 9 months. And the main reason for that is it's always better to have fresh. And if you, after 9 months, the next season will have started and you'll be able to pick your fresh ones to do again. So, therefore, you have a constant supply. And next we come to the garden. Did you know that butterflies and moths rely on your nettles, such as the painted lady, peacock, admiral, small tortoiseshell, golden wye moth, green carpet moth, and spectacle moth? These are all food for their caterpillars. Ladybirds also lay their larvae there, and while the ladybirds are in your garden, they're going around to all your plants and devouring all the aphids that you don't want on your crops. It also nettles encourage hoverflies and lacewings. During the summer, the birds will eat the aphids off your nettles, and when the seeds are then produced later on, they'll be used. The birds that eat seeds will be using that as a food source. You can use it for compost and for mulch. Except don't, if you're going to use it for mulch around your plants there to stop the weeds, then please don't add the roots, otherwise you're going to make roots. It's also great for making your own free liquid plant food. All you need is a waterproof container. You pick your young shoots and you put them into the container. You pack them quite tightly until about, if you've got a big container, about 6 inches from the top, and you fill with water so that the nettles are completely covered. What you do then is you put the lid back on and you leave it in a cool place for about 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you then you can put baize or something over it and pour it into another container, taking all the stems and the roots out. These can then be put in your compost heap again to help you with your garden. When fermenting, it will froth a bit, so don't worry about that. And when you have taken out your stems and leaves, you can then, yes, you have a lovely concentrate. What you can do then is you put 1 part of nettle to 10 parts water, roughly that. And every 2 weeks, you then water, you then put on your plants. This is a free and it's natural concentrate. So that's saving you money. It's good for your garden. And if you have a problem with aphids and you don't like buying the aphid spray or using washing up liquid, then what you can do is a quick version of this. You take a saucepan and you take a big bunch of your nettles, you put them in, you pour water again, boil them for about half an hour. At the end of the half hour, again, let it cool, strain out the leaves, put them on the compost heap, and decant straight into a spray bowl. There you have a free aphid spray, and that will protect your plants, not be using chemicals, and it means you're saving money in the long run. And also a great use for nettle leaves for those people that like to collect their own fruit from their own orchards, or if they have permission to collect some from orchards. If you lay the leaves in wherever you're storing your apples and pears, they actually stop the chance of fungus spreading through the fruit and ruining. So there again, another fantastic use of this amazing little plant. And now here comes the kitchen part of my video. As you may or may not know, nettles are a very high carrier of vitamin C, high in protein and iron, and you could use them as fresh, dried, or powdered, and you can mix into any savoury dish you'd like. Young nettles are like spinach. If you wash the leaves, don't add any more extra water, just the water that's actually on the leaves. Cover and boil for 4 minutes. After that, you add a knob of butter and salt and pepper and cook for another 4 minutes. And while that extra 4 minutes, you can stir it or mash it. And there you have your spinach. You can also make nettle soup. If you boil the washed leaves in water for about 10 minutes, you can either strain them or you can puree them. It's up to you. Add to your normal ingredients you make for a hearty soup: potato, carrots, celery, herbs, onions. And if you want to make it a thicker one, you can add some mashed potato or even some pearl barley. And next is for a vegetarian dish. It's a vegetable nettle pie. You have nettles, mushrooms, and chopped nuts in this recipe. You want 200 grams of nettles, 100 grams of mushroom, and about 50 grams of nuts. You fry them all together. Add add a couple of spoons of cottage cheese and seasoning, and then you can fill them into a pie case, or you can make your pasties, or if you want, even make a flan out of it. Did you also know that you can use nettles as a rennet substitute? If you take the nettle juice, which is formed by boiling the nettles in a strong salt solution, when you add this to the milk, it will curdle it. Milk as cow milk or ewe milk, and this provides a cheesemaker substitute for rennet. Also, when you're making your own cheese, you can add dried nettles or part nettles to your cheese. And did you also know nettles is great for ripening your cheese? If you make your cheese and have it about an inch thick, you put it on a bed of nettles and then you cover it over with nettles. You will find this will make your cheese ripen a lot faster, and you can probably eat it within 10 days of actually making it. So that's quite useful. It's also can be used as a salt substitute. If you take the dried seeds, put them into a kettle, and obviously crush them. When you crush them, you can use them as a salt alternative if you can't if you're unable to find salt or you've run out of salt. If you have this, perfect. The next one, I think that a lot of you boys are be very um, glad to hear. I've actually got a recipe that was quite popular during World War II. Yes, using nettles. This is called the nettle cake. You get few handfuls of nettle in a little water, and you cook it for a few minutes. You then place a layer of breadcrumbs in a dish, usually about a half inch deep. You then put a layer of your strained nettles on top, and then followed by a layer of fried onions. And then whatever meat you can spare, it may be rabbit, maybe some chicken, pork, or if you want a vegetarian version, then you can put pulses and that on that. Um, then you need at least a half a pint of stock, or you could even use the nettle juice from when you cooked the nettles. Um, you finish off with a layer of bacon, and you then put it in the oven and bake it on 180 degrees C for about 30 minutes. When it comes out, you can either eat it on its own or you can have it with gravy. And it reminds us that during World War II, when we were um, having the situation where you had to make food go further, the humble nettle again saved our bacon. In future videos, I'm actually going to be doing one that covers alcohol, such as beer and wine, out of all the different nettles and dandelions, etc. So hopefully that will keep you stocked up for the for the winter. And firstly, we have gout, or what's commonly known as a joint inflammation. It's caused by an excessive uric acid in the blood, which deposits on the affected area of the joints. Um, Nettles increase the excretion of the uric acid in the body, therefore relieving it. Nettles are also brilliant for bronchitis and colds. When you've got an inflammation of the airways to your lungs, nettles are antiviral, which helps reduce infection. They're also an expectorant, which means that it loosens up the phlegm and helps disperse it out of the body. It can either be as a tea or a juice. It's also a soothing tonic for ex-smokers because the nettle has vitamin C. It's antiviral and has antihistamine properties as well. If you have a sore mouth, ulcers, gum disease, you can use it nettles as a gargle. So you use as normal as a gargle, but unlike normal the gargles you buy in the shops, it doesn't matter if you drink any of it; it can't harm you. Um, Also, there's scurvy. Um, People used to think that that is an old disease, but it's not. It's still around even today. What it is, as I was saying, yeah, nettles are have a high source of vitamin C. Um, Scurvy um, would mean you'd had bleeding gums, loose teeth, sore joints, and you can actually see bleeding under the skin in past times, the ancestors used to, in the spring, as soon as the young leaves come up, they'd eat them because during the winter they didn't have so much green veg, so therefore they'd stop the scurvy. So it really does make common sense. Another use of nettles is if you suffer from anemia. The juice, you can either have it neat or diluted. If you're suffering from exhaustion, seeds, juice, tea, or general tonic is great for a pick me up, make you feel good. If you're exhausted and are in the winter, also for a boost. Sufferers of stress, a spoonful of seeds or some nettle tea is great for making you feel less stressed and making life a little bit easier. People who suffer from high blood pressure, um, the leaves, stems, or even the flowers act as a mild diuretic, which encourages you to go produce urine, and producing urine brings down the blood pressure. You can also use it on cuts and wounds. Its nettle is ideal for clotting the blood. It can be used as a compress. So you have on your compress you put cold nettle tea, or if you have abrasions, you can actually, if you're out in the country and you get an abrasion or a cut, you can actually pick a nettle and put the white sap onto the cut, and that helps. Also, you can put dried dried nettle. It can be sprinkled directly onto a wound and pressure applied. So there again, there is so much. There's many more that I could cover, but I must have a disclaimer here. I'm not medically trained, so before trying any of these medical treatments, I would get advice from a doctor, because people may have a reaction to using these meds, and I can't be held responsible for that. Okay. And lastly, we have the general uses. Some things you might not necessarily come across. There is so many more things I could cover on here, but it'll just make this video so long. But anyway, general uses. Actually, the Germans use nettles in horse tonic. They mix it in with a feed when the horses are thin, suffering from digestive troubles, and also if they're racehorses, have colds. Poultry food, it's ideal. Leaves can be boiled or mashed or dried. Bits of leaves can be added. It increases the amount of time that the chickens produce eggs. For someone who doesn't know, they have a laying season. They don't lay so many through the winter time, but nettles also prevents disease. I've got to put this right. It's coccidiosis in chicks. Um, you can always use. You can always give nettles also to any of your pet birds. Of course, there's cordage. Most people know about cordage, but if you don't, you take a large nettle, strip off the leaves, and squash it flat. Then you split the stem open and scrape out the pith that's inside. Um, then you separate into four and plait together. There you have your cordage. One thing that is quite surprising is that you can use it as a waterproofing. If you get nettle juice and rub it liberally, sorry, on the seams of things, it actually congeals and it makes it waterproof. So it's ideal if, say, you're getting your tarp or your tentage is getting a little bit old and worn out. Again, nettles. Lastly, you can actually use it as a burning oil. It was used by the Egyptians. They used to get the seeds, crush the seeds up to produce the oil, and they used to use it in their lamps. So there again, you get heat. You can use it for heat, for cordage, your animals, your own health, keeping your garden with good insects rather than on the bad. So that's generally that's all I have to sort of let you know at the moment. I hope I haven't been too boring and gone on and on and on. Um, but I hope that you can take out something of this and find it of use. As you might or may or not see on the board behind us, um, the next thing I'll be doing is actually a recipe. This recipe is from Somerset, and it is Rattles Badborough Rabbit. Sorry again. It's Rattlers Badborough Rabbit. So for all you rabbiters out there, it's might be a nice recipe for you. And thank you yet again for all your kind comments and your support. It does mean a lot. I'm still nervous, but I'm getting there. And so, thank you very much for watching the channel, and press the like and drop us any hints if you've got any suggestions for things that I might cover in the future. Then please go ahead. But anyway, thank you yet again, guys, Kaz. And lastly, for those that are having a hard time at the moment, it's just a few words of inspiration. Remember, life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. See you soon. Bye.